Juzo receives her request and heads out. Now at the bar, Juzo, the friendly neighborhood gunman, throws some guys out of the bar as they were trying to sell drugs. Now looking at a tall building in the center of the city, Juzo recalls that two things had changed since the war: the Berserk Corporation creation and the emergence of people undergoing physical function extensions developed by the corporation to make themselves look goofy, yet powerful. The bar owner tried to see what these new sick parts can do as she reached out to Juzo's trigger, but our boy stopped her. Because it's like going to third base without going out for a cup of coffee first. It doesn't feel right. That said, she tries to make things right by offering money, which Juzo refuses, so she jumps on that cold steel head and kisses him as thanks, making Juzo blush. Heading home, Juzo sees a crime scene and hears people commenting it was Extend that kidnapped a child and killed a person. He notices a nun speaking with the police. Going back home, his landlady Christina tells him she heard a noise from his room. Going in his office, Juzo sees the broken window and seeing the child, realizes it's the Extend that the police is looking for. He starts calling the security bureau, but as the Extend tells him that it wasn't him and that he isn't a tool, Juzo stops. The security bureau then knocks on the door and Bromwell tries to enter, but Juzo blocks his way, telling him they can talk on the door. Bromwell explains they are after an Extend and threatens Juzo to move away, or since he is over Extend, he could lose his license, but Juzo tells him that if he is breaking the law, he will break a few more laws, which scares Bromwell, but before he leaves, he tells Juzo that Berserk are involved. The Extend wonders why Juzo didn't turn him in, and Juzo explains that what he said reminded him of someone from his past. The Extend then requests Juzo to watch over the kid and take him somewhere safe as he leaves and distracts the police. Juzo then calls Mary and leaves with the kid. Outside, the nun he saw earlier shows up and thanks him for saving the child, which belonged to her orphanage. Juzo starts to wonder if she is really a nun and comments the injuries the child had and how she was quite reckless going after a killer that kidnapped a child. He then comments that it's hard for him to believe a nun will look at his face and won't be scared. The woman then reveals she is from the Berserk and starts shooting at Juzo, commenting she only needs the kid from the neck up. As Juzo hides, she explains she had heard of him and that he is a gunslave unit, old relic from the war, and a useless tool without operator. Juzo gets angry and shows up, telling her to tell him again what he is. The Extend from earlier shows up and catches the woman, but she uses her enhanced eyesight and uses ricochets to hit the Extend and make him release her. She then shoots the Extend, but Juzo catches him before he falls deeper in the sewer. He leaves the kid and promises he will finish his job. The woman shoots him, and he falls with the Extend deeper in the sewer. A bit later, Juzo wakes up and tries to dry himself to not get rusty. He sees the Extend still alive, even though it has a hole in his head. The Extend explains that he was raised in an orphanage from where the nun was, and they used him for experiments at Berserk Corporation headquarters. They put a remote-controlled device known as Harmony in him, which allows him to control Extends from a distance. He tells him that he is Tetsuro and is currently controlling this body, with which he managed to escape the facility he was held. Tetsuro fears that he will be again their tool and says that they took his vocal cords and cut his tendons of his hands and feet. Before he lost control of the Extend, Tetsuro tells Juzo that he is happy that at least someone believed his story. In a train, Sister Karen was transporting Tetsuro towards their facility, but Juzo had placed a tracking device on Tetsuro and is waiting on the train tracks. As the train approaches him, he punches it, causing it to derail and stop. Juzo stops the train and gets inside. Karen shoots at him, but the bullets bounce off from his head. He tells Tetsuro while he hates kids, he hates when they are obedient, and tells him to throw a fit. Tetsuro then activates the Harmony device, taking control over an Extend, and asks Juzo for help. Karen shoots Juzo, but he blocks her bullets with his arm and then gets closer and knocks her out. After Juzo leaves with Tetsuro, he calls Mary and finds out what happened in the aftermath of the Berserk train situation. Turns out Spitsbergen organization was blamed for it. The news also revealed that Berserk CEO's son is missing for over a year. At Mary's place, she had a patient that had incompatibility with her new parts and her condition was worsening. Mary removed the part and told the man that if they need parts, she can sell them better parts for cheaper than the one they got from Kyusei Group. After that, she tells Juzo that he can come out. Juzo asks her if she can hide the kit and Mary agrees. He tells her about the Harmony device and Mary explains how it works, but removing it can lead to the boy's death. Mary says that she will give new limbs and vocal device to the kid, and he asks her to call him when he wakes up. Juzo goes to look for his favorite brand of cigarettes but can't find them anywhere. He recalls how Tetsuro said he is not a tool and how his old partner told Juzo the same. Juzo then notices a tobacco vending machine and that it has his favorite cigarettes. He pays, but the machine fails to drop the cigarettes. He ends up hitting the vending machine and it drops his cigarette, but two police officers see him and take him. They lead him to meet Hugh, who works for Berserk and knows a lot about Juzo. He wants Tetsuro back and wants to get him back peacefully, and offers Juzo a full box of his favorite cigarettes. Hugh knows that the cigarettes are a medicine for the overextended and helps them relieve the pain and have control over their extended parts, and that particular brand contains the strongest medicine. He knows that Juzo didn't have those cigarettes today and assumes he has difficulty controlling his parts. He orders his men to attack Juzo and hold him down. He tells him that controlling his cigarettes is one of the first things they will do, and then destroy a couple of cigarettes in front of Juzo. Juzo then frees himself and says that he can move even without those particular cigarettes. Juzo beats Hugh's bodyguards, who then tells his sniper to shoot, but Mary had already taken care of him. Hugh then leaves. She explains that she called his office, but as he didn't answer, she went looking for him and tells him that Tetsuro is awake. Tetsuro is trying to get used to his new limbs and eat. Meanwhile, Huang from the Kyusei group comes and wants to speak with Juzo. Huang wants Juzo to help them resolve a problem they have with an extend. Huang explains that recently there were attacks on kids in Kyusei Pit and their extend limbs were taken and hanged for everyone to see. Huang tells about the issues he had with Berserk and offers to smooth things with them. Juzo explains that he believes anyone has to deal with their own problems by themselves, and they need to protect their own territory. Huang decides to leave, explaining that he doesn't want to cause trouble since Mary also helped them too, but warns Juzo that there are rules in Kyusei Pit, and if he causes trouble, there will be consequences. After Huang left, Mary goes to Juzo, and he tells her it's Berserk who are attacking the children until they find Tetsuro. Having overheard all that, Tetsuro doesn't want to stay still and do nothing while kids are getting injured. He wants to hire Juzo and offers his harmony device, but Juzo explains they are not even sure if they can remove it. Tetsuro then uses the harmony device on Juzo and takes control over his body. He then takes his own body while controlling Juzo and leaves. While looking around, Tetsuro sees two girls, Ane and Ende, being chased by Extend. He ends up knocking out the Extend. Ane tells Ende they will return her body to normal if they do this job. Ende then transforms into a spider-like Extend, and Tetsuro realizes they were the ones attacking children. Tetsuro tries to explain that he was also imprisoned and experimented, but managed to escape from Berserk, but Anna tells him that they are not imprisoned and that's their only home. Ende starts shooting and manages to hit Tetsuro, who realizes the bullets has poison, and that's why the kids weren't waking up. Moment later, Ende goes berserk, wanting Anna to hold her hand. Anna manages to catch up to her and holds her hand, making her calm down and return to normal. The girls meet up with Hugh, and Anna wants to take Ende to the facility and check her as she's on her limit, but Hugh reminds them of their job. But as they are failing it, he plans on terminating them. Tetsuro comes and punches the man holding Ane and stating they were not tools. Hugh believes that Tetsuro is an Extend from Kyusei group and orders his men to attack him, but as his face is revealed, he gets shocked as he sees Juzo's face. He tells Ane and Ende that they actually were useful and orders them to show their value against Juzo. Ende transforms and attacks Juzo, making his backpack fall and reveal Tetsuro's body. Seeing that, Hugh realizes that Tetsuro is the one controlling Juzo right now, which makes him laugh. Listening to Tetsuro's speech about wanting to be free and not to be a tool, Anna wonders what's wrong with being a tool. She tells Ende to hurry and kill him, but Ende reaches her hand asking Anna to hold it. Hugh then shoots Ende with a drug that will put her brain in comatose state and will cause her to go berserk. Since Kyusei group won't be able to stop a model like her, Berserk will get involved and save them, making them owe them a favor. Hugh explains that his goal right now wasn't to capture Tetsuro, but to take something from Juzo, and he is sure that in this way Kyusei group will kick them out of Kyusei Pit, where his house is. Ende goes berserk and Tetsuro tries to protect Anna from her attack. That makes him lose control over Juzo. Anna, badly injured, tells Tetsuro that his death ring had appeared and if he continues, he will fry his brain. In her last moments, she asks him to save Ende. Tetsuro attempts to use the harmony, but it has been weakened, and he can't take control of Ende. He tries to take control of one of her arms and attack her subbrain to stop her, but fails. Ende attacks Tetsuro, but Juzo protects him and pushes Ende away. Juzo says that he had seen everything he did to his body and wants to have a chat with Tetsuro later. Juzo takes Tetsuro and brings him to an elevator, explaining that Tetsuro used him as a tool, and even though it was different, it's still similarly to what Berserk do. As Ende comes after them, they ride the elevator down, but she still catches up. Juzo, unable to continue the fight, tells Tetsuro that there is 90% chance Ende will die, but he must use his gun on his head. Tetsuro does and manages to defeat her. Later, Juzo and Tetsuro are kicked out of Kyusei Pit, but Huang manages to convince his group to leave Mary. Gyuzo explains that Enda's poison is a program that paralyzes the subbrain of an Extend, but since he is an old model, it didn't work that well on him. Mary is currently making a counter-program and will save the affected kids and has also managed to save Enda. Tetsuro figures that Gyuzo could have resisted his harmony control at any time, but Gyuzo had let him control him or purpose. Gyuzo tells him never use harmony on him again, and that only those he accepts can touch his trigger, and he doesn't plan on accepting anyone. Gyuzo is surprised things are calm after the events in Kyusei Pit. They see on the news they are investigating the origin of the weapon that was fired in Kyusei Pit, and Mary explains that extends with weapon extensions are called overextends and they need license from the EMS to live. Since Gyuzo shot his weapon without authorization, if EMS learns about it, they may scrap him into parts. Tetsuro wants to leave in order to not further endanger Gyuzo and Mary, but Gyuzo stops him, explaining that he has nowhere to go and bear urine are everywhere. Outside, Gyuzo sees Scarlet harassed by some policemen and he scares them away. They go to the barber shop and see her father asleep. After he wakes up, he starts cleaning Gyuzo's head gun. A woman then approaches Gyuzo, saying that she knows he is in trouble with bear urine, and if he uses his weapon, the reconstruction agency will come sniffing around, and since they don't get along with bear urine, it will keep them away from him. Gyuzo tells he had been waiting for Olivier. Olivier arrests him for use of his weapon and revokes his license. Mary and Tetsuro come in and see Gyuzo is arrested. Gyuzo wants the old man to finish his cleaning before he goes, and Olivier agrees, but the old man had pissed himself and tells Scarlet to finish it. Everyone is taken by EMS. Olivier comments that she is sheltering everyone as Gyuzo requested, and for that, he owes her another favor. She explains that the EMS cooperating with overextends can't be made public, especially now that there are rumors of higher-ups working with bear urine. She tells him about an EMS prison van being attacked and 7 dangerous prisoners who were transferred to bear urine research facility had escaped. While they don't get along with bear urine, they have special corsets that can hold extends, and bear urine has the exclusive rights, so they need to cooperate with them in order to get the corsets, and because of that, they send them prisoners regularly. As they won't be able to persuade the prisoners openly, she requests that Gyuzo help her out. She tells him that 5 of the 7 prisoners have been recaptured and had located one of the remaining 2, but the problem is the last one. Their convoy then gets attacked by the located prisoner. He tricks the EMS soldiers to shoot at his corset and free him. Hub Bear then proceeds and kills some of the EMS men. As Scarlet and the rest are in danger, Gyuzo frees himself preparing to go, but sees Cronin von Wolf arriving and stopping Hub Bear. Even though Cronin was asked to deal with this discreetly, he doesn't care how his superiors will handle bear urine and only cares of punishing those who break the law. Cronin doesn't want to work with Gyuzo, but Olivier tells him it won't be easy to recapture the last prisoner and reveals that's Hayden Gondry, the first recorded rampaging extend. In Olivier's office, she opens a smelly fish can, saying she is releasing some stress. She tells Gyuzo that she had taken his group in custody as Gyuzo requested, and knows bear urine is after the boy. Olivier then tells Gyuzo about the last prisoner, Hayden Gondry, a former military that 10 years ago goes berserk and kills 16 people. She takes Gyuzo to the morgue, where she shows 3 murdered people believing they were killed by Hayden. She believes that Spitsbergen can also be involved, and while they are organization against the physical function extensions, if they had proved that Hayden Berserk was caused by his extensions, they would not have become so popular today. She requests that Gyuzo bring him back to learn the truth. Gyuzo heads into the home of the 3rd victim, an ex-military. Gyuzo finds a hidden picture, but then gets attacked by Cronin. Both express their desire for the other to drop the case. Gyuzo asks him to take him to Hayden's next target. He shows the picture and states that he remembered who they were. 3 of them are already dead. 4th is Hayden, and the 5th is the first full-body extend mega-armed Tokisada. Arriving at the Tokisada statue event, Gyuzo sees a girl with flowers that fells and lifts her up. Looking at his face, she doesn't get scared and tells him his face felt nostalgic. The girl goes to Tokisada and wants to give him flowers. Hayden then tries to attack Tokisada, but Gyuzo stops him and tells the big guy to get away. Hayden frees himself and attempts to attack Gyuzo. Cronin uses his needles to stop Gyuzo in order to defeat Hayden alone, but Gyuzo still moves and Cronin kicks his head, but his gun hits Hayden and knocks him out. Looking at him, Gyuzo realizes this wasn't Hayden. Tokisada had escaped with his men and the girl. He congratulates her on her bravery and staying silent. In that moment, his men get killed and the girl reveals it's Hayden. Olivier meets with the higher-ups that tell her that she had orders to take Hayden silently, but she explains that she wants to bring him to justice. The man tells her that her father was one of his victims in the past and he knows she wants revenge and suspends her from her position as he can assign someone else to take care of the situation. Hayden is about to kill Tokisada, but Gyuzo and Cronin arrive and Cronin uses his needles on Hayden. but he manages to escape. Juzo asks Tokisada why Hayden may want him dead, but Tokisada says that there are many who target a hero like him, but wonders why would he target his other comrades. Tokisada explains Hayden's disguise ability and that he never failed an assassination, but because of this he gets a pressure on his subbrain, which in the end caused his rampage. Juzo wonders why Cronin's needles didn't work on Hayden, and Cronin explains that he had memorized all the trigger points on all extend parts, but irregular types often have unique trigger points. Cronin tells Juzo to retreat and that Olivia is temporarily suspended. Juzo tells him that he had not received any order to drop the request from, and if he captures Hayden and the truth comes out, her superiors won't be able to take her down. When Cronin leaves, Hayden reveals himself and attacks Juzo from behind. He then turns his eyes on Tokisada, but Juzo stands up and engages Hayden in combat, stating it's a fight until one of them fries his subbrain. Juzo manages to cause Hayden's subbrain to overheat and reveal its location on his throat. Hayden attempts to run, but Cronin hits his subbrain with his needles and stops him. Elsewhere, Pepper, who works for Berserk, comments her harmony device lost control of Hayden, and that she fought with another gunslave unit like Seven. She comments she was so close in killing Tokisada, but ended up playing too much. Meanwhile, Olivia is informed that of the 3 dead, the third has a different cause of death, a blow to the chest that caused the heart to stop, and it looks like someone was imitating Hayden. Tetsuro arrives and beats Olivia's guards, asking her to take him to Juzo. Juzo carries Hayden, who awakens and is immediately tranquilized again by Cronin, but before losing consciousness he wonders what happened to the war and his comrades. Tokisada then tells them that if the truth is revealed, it will slow the extension's progress and the country would not have prospered. He tells them they can't allow Hayden to reveal the truth from 10 years ago, and Juzo and Cronin will have to perish here, and attacks and knocks out Cronin. Tokisada turns towards Juzo and they fight. Heading towards Juzo, Olivia and Tetsuro hear an explosion, and Tetsuro realizes that must be Juzo and he heads out alone. Tokisada checks Juzo's cigar and realizes that after all this fighting, he may not even be able to stand up anymore. He wants Juzo to work with him and improve the position of extends in society, but as Juzo refuses, he breaks his neck. Tokisada then goes to Hayden, stating that he has to sacrifice himself one more time for them, but hears a noise and turns around. He sees Juzo standing up and entering battle mode, waiting for an operator. Realizing he can't do anything without operator, Tokisada goes and punches him, but Juzo detects the attack and tries to eliminate the target. Juzo then starts beating Tokisada, who uses his hidden Gatling gun, but it has no effect on Juzo. Tokisada throws a bomb that also causes a smoke screen and attempts to run. As he heads back to Hayden, Tokisada comments that he must not allow the truth to come out, how he killed the men that came to the facility and made Hayden take the blame. Olivia overhears Tokisada. She asks him to explain himself, as one of those military officers was her father. Tokisada explains that the research at that facility was necessary for the future of the extends in the country, and the officers didn't understand it, so they had to be erased. Juzo arrives with Tetsuro and attacks Tokisada. Knowing that he killed her father, Olivia tells Juzo to kill him, but Juzo misses with his punch. Juzo asks Olivia if that is really what she wants. As Juzo stops moving, Tokisada pushes him away and stands up. He states that his existence is too great and he is the bridge between humans and extends, and he must live for a greater cause. Olivia tells him that her father sacrificed everything for a greater cause and that Tokisada is just selfish. She lights up a cigarette and blows the smoke into Juzo's mouth. Tokisada takes a pipe, and as he is about to strike and kill Olivia, she asks Juzo if he is going to let a client die. Juzo then wakes up and stops Tokisada's attack and destroys Tokisada's right arm with a pipe. EMS soldiers come and Olivia opens a canned food, making them think it's some sort of gas, while giving a chance for Juzo and Tetsuro to escape. In a van, Olivia shows a recording of their conversation with Tokisada and states she sent it to someone she knew from the Department of Justice. Tokisada tells her that neither the Department of Justice or EMS can handle this matter. Before he is able to tell her more, Pepper, using Seven, shoots the van from distance. Pepper comments that she doesn't like using Seven's power and the smell of his muzzle makes her nose running. She states that heroes are complete when they die and congratulates Beruran's puppet, Tokisada. Mathilda and Imelda inform the Beruran board that Hugh wishes to speak with them. He wishes to redeem himself for his failed negotiation with Juzo and informs them they managed to eliminate Tokisada. Hugh explains that they made Tokisada a hero, but last week another member of Tindalos threatened to reveal the truth about the incident 10 years ago and Tokisada killed him. Tokisada then asked their help to cover the murder, so they controlled Hayden and made him kill other Tindalos members. In the end, they killed Tokisada as the higher-ups had requested. They like what they hear, but comment they didn't allow the use of Gunslave unit and involvement of EMS director. They decide to give him one chance to redeem himself. Outside, Hugh meets Pepper and Seven and complains they did poor job. Pepper blames the Harmony device, but Hugh explains it's only a replica of the original. Before leaving, he tells them to stay quiet until he has new jobs for them. But Pepper has no such plans, as she is now interested in Juzo. Inside his car, Hugh complains how people like Pepper doesn't realize how dangerous the board is and states there are even rumors that they had started the last Great War. Returning to his office, Juzo notices his door is unlocked. Pepper tells him she was losing her patience waiting for him and wants Juzo to grant her wish. Seven then attacks Juzo from behind, but Juzo blocks his attack. Juzo tells Seven to move aside as he stepped on a cigarette, but Seven says that only Pepper can order him. Juzo tells him to hurry and ask his mom, which only annoys Seven. Pepper tells Seven to stop. Juzo realizes they are from Berserk as they would need license for Seven to walk around, and he sees Pepper has a hands device, which is exclusive device used to release the control program on a Gunslave unit, and the Reconstruction Agency would never allow them to be together. Pepper confirms, but explains she is here for a personal reason. She asks Juzo who is his owner, as her request is to defeat him and Juzo. She uses the hands device and activates Seven's combat program and orders him to pin Juzo. Seven attacks Juzo with hits if Faust, but Juzo avoids it and trips him, making Seven fall. Seeing that, Pepper gets angry and tells Seven to not disappoint her. Seven gets up and pins Juzo, breaking the wall and making them both fall from the upper floors. Pepper realizes that Juzo indeed doesn't have a partner and tells him to get serious or he will die, but Juzo explains he only uses his power to complete a job he accepted and has no interest in listening to her stupid request. Pepper prepares to attack Juzo, but Tetsuro gets in her way and Seven stops her, and she realizes that Tetsuro used a harming device on Seven. Realizing who Tetsuro is, he comments it may be bad if she lays a hand on him and decides they leave. In the morning, the EMS came to investigate the incident, and Cronin shows pictures of Pepper and Seven and explains they are resolvers working for Berserk. He explains that they are likely the ones that attacked Olivia when they wanted to eliminate Hayden and Tokisada. Berserk had paid lots of money to hide that fact, and EMS plans to not go after them, so Juzo needs to protect himself. Cronin tells him that the search for Berserk's CEO's son has been silently retracted, likely related to something he had been hiding. When Tetsuro wakes up, Juzo asks him about his burns, and Tetsuro explains that Mary told him its resonance. When the power of the Harmony gets too strong, he receives the same damage as the Extend he is controlling. Tetsuro blames himself for last night, but Juzo tells him they were after him last night and not after Tetsuro. Later, Mary brings a customer to Juzo named Danny Yo. He requests Juzo to protect a girl from an Extend that haunts her. Juzo accepts, and Mary decides to tag along. She tells Juzo that EMS is protecting Tetsuro right now and Berserk won't make a move too carelessly. She also puts a high-voltage current at the door that will activate if someone forces it to open. Mary gets excited about the case as Ghost of an Extend can mean a super old model. Danny Yo brings Juzo to McMahon House, wanting Juzo to protect Rosa from a ghost. Danny explains that he came in contact with the ghost, but at the place he lost it, there are footprints, and he believes it's someone who is after valuable evidence regarding a case her father worked, and that Rosa truly believes a ghost is after her. Going to Rosa's room, Danny finds her hiding under the bed. As she saw Juzo, she threw a vase at him and started to scream. Danny explains he hired Juzo to protect her, and the thing about what the culprit may be after. Mary tells the men to leave, and outside, Juzo notices something and goes after it. He gets attacked by two flying hands, and he manages to capture one of them. Meanwhile, Mary decides to help Rosa clean herself and starts washing her back. Rosa explains that her father was working for the Department of Justice and he died because he likely did something to an Extend, and she doesn't want to do anything with Extends. Mary then sees a picture of a motorcycle Gustav MV 360 and gets super excited as only 5 of them were produced during the war. Rosa tells her they still have it in the storage and that she is free to take it as she won't be able to drive it anymore. Mary sees that Rosa holds a bulky pendant, and Rosa explains her father gave it to her little before the incident. Danny enters and takes Rosa, wanting to take her to safety as the Extend had attacked and Juzo went to fight it. But at the door, Juzo shows up and blocks his way. Juzo finds it strange that the ghost left footprints and reveals 2 Extend hands that couldn't left the footprint. Juzo tells Rosa he will show her the real ghost. Juzo then questions Danny why would he left fake footprint, and if he was trying to convince Rosa that someone was after something and Rosa to give him the whereabouts of it. Juzo enters the room and picks up a framed picture with the arms noting. Juzo then yells and Dan crunches with Mary realizing he has a wiretap in his ears. Rosa recalls how she was living a normal life until one day, because of an Extend, their car crashed and her parents died and she lost a leg. Rosa says that she can't trust anything an Extend says and tells Juzo that he is no longer human, but a monster, after which Danny leaves with her. In the car, Danny comments that he is glad that Rosa believed him, but Rosa tells him that she doesn't completely trust him and points his gun at him. Danny tells her that he and her father are fighting for justice and that her father had obtained data that would prove the dangers from the Extends and they could crush Barrier Incorporation. Rosa wonders why would her father give her something so important and not give it to Danny. He agrees with her, commenting that he shouldn't have involved his daughter in something like this as that puts him again in a bad position. Danny suddenly stops the car and Rosa drops the gun. He explains that he doesn't know how her father got the data, but he was a coward and didn't want to use it to its fullest. But if they give it to Spitsbergen, they will be able to get rid of the Extend for them and would also receive a big reward. As he loads the gun, Rosa realizes he caused the car incident and Danny explains that the hand Extend wasn't part of his plan and it has been protecting her since then. Danny then shoots Rosa, but the right hand Extend was hiding in the car and took the bullet for her. The other hand is guiding Juzo and Mary, who took the Gustav bike. They crash the bike, but Juzo manages to stop Danny's car and then knocks him out. Later, Bromwell says that for now, this incident is under his jurisdiction, and they will investigate the death of George McMahon and his wife until EMS takes the case from them. Mary tells Juzo that she manages to solve the pendant puzzle. Juzo says that if it's that valuable, he may be able to sell it. He then yells for everyone to hear he is taking the data as a reward. At his office, Mary states that with her current equipment, she can't extract the data as it's too old. Mary realized that Juzo took the data so that the girl to not be attacked again. They wondered what happened to the hand Extend as it disappeared, but suddenly the Extend reappears on Juzo, ending the season on a big cliffhanger.